Hey everybody, welcome to our sales mastery training. Mario Delgadillo here on this beautiful Wednesday in Dallas, Texas. And this afternoon, guys, what we want to do is just spend a little bit of time talking about our industry, right? So kind of like a chalk talk type of thing, halftime speech, where we get together and we say, hey, why is it that most insurance agents fail? So some common mistakes. And guys, this is actually, believe it or not, kind of a laundry list of things. We're not going to go through that today. I'm going to give you about five or six really important ones, but there's a lot, right? So the vast majority of insurance agents fail or quit. And it's really difficult to gauge what the actual percentage is, but the unsuccessful majority succumb to common mistakes that I believe can be avoided with diligence, patience, hard work, and just being intentional, right? Just being focused on what you should and should not be doing. So the first thing we want to talk about in common mistakes is this: is that agents that succeed, they prioritize their customers' needs, their clients' needs over their own profits, right? Sharina says this a lot, right? Her mission is before the commission, right? And so the most commonly cited reason insurance agents fail is that they fail to listen to their customers and their clients' needs, and they take time to produce the best product for the client. Now, if we can be honest with one another, we know that sometimes internally we're pulling for a client to do a certain type of product because we know in our minds, especially the more and more you do, you know that if I put them in this position, I'll make more money than if I put them in this position. The folks that put the clients in the appropriate products for their best well-being are the ones that win, okay? 100%. We call it commission breath, right? We've all had it, okay? Because I don't care if you're doing this on a part-time basis, meaning you work a full-time job and you're doing this on the side, or this is your full-time gig. You're gonna come to a place where you're like, man, things are tight, right? Things are tough right now. Like I know I've got to put up some numbers. And so it's at that point that you have to fight off the urge to do things that are a little bit more in your interest than the clients. So agents who bring the right solutions to their clients build trust, and that trust helps them to build a loyal book of clients and customers, right? So give an example. Today or yesterday, I'll send this out to you guys. Actually, I'll send it to you because it's a pretty powerful thing that you should keep on your phone. So this is a annual statement of policy values for a client that I did a fixed index annuity on. Her issue date was 9/15/2023. And her statement date is 9/17/2024. So her first year, okay, she rolled in $117,047. Okay, she ended with 129,000. So it's a 12.5% increase on her first year. So I blocked out all the stuff, I highlighted it, and I put it together there, right? And so I called her. Well, actually, I called her husband because he's the one who kind of did all the work. I don't even know if I have her number. I called the husband and I'm like, hey, did you see, your wife's 12.5% return on her first year? He said, yep, you beat me to it. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I was going to call you. I said, oh, awesome. It's good news, right? He goes, heck yeah, man. 12.5% with a guarantee against loss and zero charges. It's like, you can't beat that. I said, nope. And he's like, awesome. I said, well, what are you going to call me for? He goes, well, two reasons. Number one is, should we keep her on the same index, right? Or is there another index that might have a bigger bonus? Or number two, he's been talking about selling one of his businesses. And he said, I'm about to finish that off. And when I saw this, I was like, man, I need to get more of some of my money. Can you run me some numbers for a $500,000 FIA? I was like, yeah. So the purpose for sharing that is that when you do what is right by your client, You will build a faithful and a loyal book of business. And he's calling me back to give us more money, to put us in a position to help him even more so. So number one is common mistakes is that agents, they prioritize these agents that fail, they prioritize their needs over their clients' needs. Number two, guys, is agents enter into the industry, and this is a big one, with over ambitious expectations of growth and success. Okay. This is huge. This is why at the Finline agency, guys, we do not recruit just anybody. Because you guys would agree, right? Just remembering your own onboarding process, your own training process, even if you've never recruited anybody, guys, it's a lot of work, right? It's a lot of work to get somebody up and ready to go, right? Imagine bringing on 10 to 15 people and you're doing all the work to get them up to go, but you don't have the appropriate expectations set for them. And then they all quit. You just wasted a crap ton of time, right? So new agents, in my opinion, often have unrealistic expectations of how long it will take to build a real book of business and generate revenue ongoing, right? It's really difficult for people to understand that because you have to live it, right? You have to live that process. Especially, it gets more difficult when you have, two training leaders like myself and Maritza who seem to constantly be writing business, right? We've been doing this a long time, a lot of failure. Trust me, right, when I tell you, one day, very soon, because we're growing, and this is the agency, but I just love it because this is going to be our future leadership team. One day, very soon, when each one of you guys have a really solid team underneath you, and we're building something big, and we're going to be on a leadership retreat. And we might have a few adult beverages floating around, and we might have some good cigars. And in those situations, I guarantee you, Maritza's going to say, "Y'all want to hear some stories?" And she's going to tell you why it wasn't always glitz and glamour. I'm going to share with you, man. Let me tell you what happened. Okay. While I'm on it, I'll give you guys a funny one. Just yesterday, I called the lead and I heard a TV. So I know the guy picked up. So I heard a TV commercial, but nobody was saying anything. His name, let's just call him Todd. So I said, Todd, because I don't go, "Hi, can I please speak to Todd, please?" Because that's, Debbie, the Time Life operator, right off the bat. So I go, "Todd," nothing. "Todd, can you hear me?" Nothing. But I could still hear the TV. "Todd, hey, Todd. Hello, hello, Todd." And then here's what I hear. Up, dip, up, 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 dip. He's trying to make it sound like he has no coverage. But while he's doing that, I can hear the effing TV. So the TV's perfectly fine. And he's going up, 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 up. And I laughed. I literally laughed. And I said, "Todd, man, that's the first time I've ever had that happen." And then I go, "I can hear the TV playing perfectly fine." And then he goes, "So what do you want?" It was the greatest thing ever. I was like, "Oh my God." I said, you requested some information about securing guarantee, but I just kept it funny, right? And he said, "Well, I'm not really into talking right now. If you can just send me some information, that'd be great." Click. I just laughed. I was like, "This is hilarious." So what I say to guys is, look, it's easy to be like, "Oh, Mario just put in another FIA," but I'm going through the same crap that you guys are going through, okay? So have the appropriate expectation, give your business time so that you can build a reputation in your community, right? And it's going to require dedication. You're going to have to be proactive. You're going to have to be patient, right? I'll tell you, the first 5 years are going to be extremely difficult for any of you guys to really break into this industry and make something significant happen as a whole. But I will tell you, and I don't want to say this to create inappropriate expectations, but based on what we've seen between our approach, myself, Maritza Wences, and all of you guys, I'd be pretty confident to say that we're getting people up and running pretty darn fast. right? People are getting started, and in their first year, they're making some decent money, right? But you still have to be able to have expectation to say, hey, listen, I've got to let this, I have to be expecting that this is going to be difficult. But at the same time, here's one of the other things that fall under this. Guys, you have to expect to work long hours. That includes nights, that includes weekends, because you're going to have to be able to accommodate your clients anytime they need you. Guys, when you're new or when you're struggling, if a client says, hey, can you meet at 2 o'clock on a Saturday? You're going to say, I sure can. Even though you're like, son of a bastard. Like, no, I can't meet on a Saturday at 2. What are you, high? But sure can. I've got an opening, right? You've got to have that mindset, right? Because you have to get through there. And we've all been there, right? Because this industry is long-term growth. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. So number 3, guys, agents, I think, often lack necessary mentorship. And this is important. Guys, find someone that is successful and literally copy what they do, okay? Find somebody that is successful and literally copy what they do, guys. In this industry, you make tons of money just trying to figure out how to make the wheel go faster, not recreating it. You guys get that? There are people that have already built models that work. Copy it to the T and just figure out if there's any way that you can make it just go a little faster. And I would say that using your training agent strategy that we've put together, where you shadow and observe, is the easiest way to become successful, right? Shadow and observe what somebody's doing, right? Let them produce for you and with you, make a little bit of money, sacrifice some commissions, right? While you're learning, and then get off to the races. So unsuccessful agents lack necessary mentorship. The next is agents need to be able to handle rejection well. And this one is a tough one, okay? Guys, rejection hurts, okay? Especially at the beginning, right? The fear of rejection is common pretty much for anybody who's working in sales, particularly those who are just learning to sell their value and their products. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. But for whatever reason, we as humans are wired to need the approval of other people. It's just crazy, right? And then when we get into this industry, we're told that you have to get comfortable with rejection. Guys, I want you to understand, we live in the know. N-O, not K-N-O-W. We live in the know. N-O. 95% of your life is going to be rejection. Accept it, swallow it, right? Put your arms around it. It is what it is. The difference between like a Maritza or myself or anybody else who's operating at a higher level is not that we don't have rejection. It's just it doesn't faze us. It doesn't matter, okay? The application that I closed today, we opened up the call by him saying that he's still looking around for different options. And I just called him out on it. I said, okay, so what are you looking for? Different product or a different company with a fixed index annuity? Because I'm contracted with over 40 A-rated financial institutions. So unless you don't like me, okay, if you don't like the product, just tell me. I'll go find you something else. So we started talking through it. I went through some numbers with him. And here's what I said. I said, sir, I'm not much about chasing people. I've been blessed financially. I don't need you to do this deal. You need to do this deal. Okay? And if you walk away, that's fine by me. My lights are not going to get cut off. I promise you that. But I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you you're making a mistake by looking at a different route. Okay? So the idea is that I just don't care if I get rejected. If you were to be like, no, I'm going in a different direction, I'd be like, all right, no problem. And on my book, okay, what I do is I grab a pin. I don't mess it up in case I ever want to get back to the notes. I just do this. I grab a pin and I just draw a line through it. So if I ever come to that, I know that something happened where the door's now shut. But if I ever wanted to come back to it because he called me back, then I have his notes. So I don't destroy it or get rid of it. I just put a note and we're just moving on, right? So you have to be able to handle rejection. You have to accept that it's there. You don't have to like it, but you just have to know it's par for the course, right? Next is this: agents must be involved in a community of professionals. Guys, isolation is a killer. Isolation is a killer, right? Guys, it's so important for you to stay plugged into this community as much as possible, right? I don't know if you guys have ever been involved in a sales organization of any type where there was an actual physical building and an office. There's some fun times being in a sales team in a floor where everybody's together, right? Um, I'll kind of go back to like Priscilla and maybe even Tony. Tony and I didn't work together in corporate, but Priscilla and I did work more closely together in person. Dude, we had some fun times on the sales floor, like just acting dumb, having late nights. Just it was fun. It built camaraderie. There was chemistry. Iron sharpens iron, but we do it all isolated over Zoom. So when we have our meetings, sometimes they're, super duper powerful. Sometimes it's like a, halftime talk like it is today. There's power in getting your butt engaged and staying close to the team always, because you never know when that one little nugget gets put out, that one little nugget is going to be the thing that changes the game for you or makes you turn the corner, right? I always give this example, right? Sometimes people say, Mario, do I have to go to church to be a Christian? The answer is no, you don't, right? I mean, you don't. But will you be very successful in your walk? Probably not, because you're isolated. When you're isolated, right, then you're going to get picked off, right? You need to be around people who are in the same mission, going through the same things, experiencing the same things, so that you can lean on one another when you're not strong, right? Or you can pick somebody up when you are strong. It's the same thing here. Do you have to come to our meetings and trainings, right, to be in this industry? Absolutely not. But I would wager money you probably won't be successful. Promise you that. Okay. So plugging into outside networking events and mixers are also a good thing. But guys, don't get caught up in a false sense of work ethic. Okay. Go to a mixer, go to an event, get your name out there. But if you can't directly connect it or directly create a tie from that event to your bank account, be easy. Don't make it something that you do all the time, because then what you're doing is you're just wasting your time, right? So next is agents should have long-term business plans with very specific goals. So why do I say this? See, one of the biggest mistakes I think new agents makes is just assuming that they'll be successful right out of the gate, right? So what do I want to make in my first calendar year? Okay. Stretch it a little bit. Be a little bit presumptuous. Push yourself and then reverse engineer backwards. What do I need to do per quarter? What do I need to do per month? What do I need to do per week? What do I need to do per day? Right. And I think I know y'all well enough individually that know that pretty much you guys are like, you're goal driven, right? So if you have goals that you can hit every single day, then if you hit your goal every day, you won the week, right? And if you win every week, ultimately you'll win the month. If you win the month, you win the quarter, right? You win the quarter, you win the half, you win the half, you win the year. It's all real simple. Sales is a very, very simple thing. But at the end of 2023, a survey said that only 15% of agencies surveyed said that their people had a business plan. So only 15% of agents had a business plan put in place. So guys, develop a plan. Write down your goals for revenue, lead generation, conversions, or anything else that you want to measure. I promise you, if you don't have goals, you definitely won't hit them. If you don't have them written down, you're never going to get there, right? And then the last thing we'll talk about today, and I think this is a big one, is agents should not make empty promises to clients. See, when you make promises that you can't deliver on, it opens up the possibility for lawsuits straight up. Now, how many of you guys know that in our industry, you are individually open for lawsuits if things go wrong? Give me a show of hands. Did y'all know that? Okay. So if you don't want that, okay, don't put yourself in a corner. Now, don't worry. All of us have E&O insurance, right? Errors and omissions insurance. And if you were to ever get sued, your E&O company would take care of that for you and fight that battle for you, right? Now, that said, though, okay, never overpromise. You don't need to. Now, there's a way that you can have conversations that help people to see a bigger picture or see potential. But you're going to learn that verbiage. You're going to learn that body countenance. You're going to learn how to present and to carry yourself in such a way where you're able to help see people to see something bigger and better without having to actually verbalize something that's wrong or inaccurate. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is by shadowing somebody who's successful, right? So, I would say that this is literally like the quickest way to lose your client's trust is by like saying something because you don't know, but you don't want to come off like you don't know, so you just say it, and then it comes back to bite you in the butt. Meaning, there's been times where somebody asks me a question and I don't know it. Okay, case in point, yesterday, I showed this gentleman an illustration, and he said, "You notice that in the 10-year period, there's 3 years where the account value went down. I thought we don't lose." And I was like, "You don't." And he goes, "Well, look." So when we looked at it, I saw 3 separate areas where the account value dropped just a hair. And I was like, "Huh, I don't know." And I said, "Maybe I made a fumble on the illustration." I said, "You know what? Let me look into that." I said, "I'll have that answer to you by the end of the day. I might have made a mistake somewhere when I drew this up." He was like, "Okay, no problem. I trust you." He's like, you know, and then I figured it out that there's a fee built in, and if in that particular year, if the index doesn't outperform the fee, then it drops the account value. And when I figured it out later, I was like, I figured it out. If we're still in the same meeting, and I told him, he's like, "Okay, that makes sense, right?" But in that situation, sometimes it's easier to kind of make something up so that you feel like you don't know, like, oh, he doesn't think that I don't know what I'm talking about. And then when he finds out, you look even worse, right? So just tell the truth, right? And so the best way is to operate from a series of promises to deliver amazing customer service instead of operating from a place where you're delivering, production and all of those things. Because ultimately, guys, we don't have any control over that. We don't have any control with how much money they're going to earn, what the index is going to perform at, but we do have control over the type of quality of counsel and customer satisfaction and follow through and support that we could provide. So if you always promise to be that person, right, then they're gonna want to be with you on this journey, and they're gonna really appreciate and respect you for it. So, guys, that's all I've got for today. Common reasons why people fail in this industry. I'm going to go ahead and stop.